Welcome to Project Tornado. I'm ABC57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Chief Meteorologist Tom Coombs. My job is to tell you about all kinds of weather. The nice days, the rainy days, snowy days, and those few days a year with severe weather. If a tornado happened today, what would you do? Where would you go? Do you and your family have a plan to stay safe? The best way to stay protected is to be informed and know the forecast. Project Tornado is severe weather preparation and education. We're going to learn about thunderstorms, lightning, hail, flooding, tornadoes, and of course, finding your safe spot and more. Thunderstorms can be loud. The booms, bangs, and pings can be startling. But what puts the thunder in thunderstorms? Meteorologist Macy Tetrick explains lightning and hail.
Let's learn about now two things that happen pretty frequently within thunderstorms. That's lightning and hail. But the first thing we'll talk about here is lightning. So you might be wondering, how does this form? Well, we'll talk about storms here in a second, but first I want you to think about something you might already have experience with playing with. Magnets. Now, what happens if you have two different magnets that have the same charge? If you put them up close to each other, they're actually going to end up repelling each other. They go away from each other. What if you have two magnets that are different? You have a positive and a negative. Well, opposites attract when it comes to charges, and it's the exact same thing when we think about thunderstorms. So there are a bunch of charges that are within the storms here, and they're going to end up repelling each other. So take a look at the thundercloud. You'll probably start to see the rain before the storms happen, but then on the ground, we have the red charges or the positive charges. Within the storms or within the clouds themselves, we see the negative charges, which are highlighted in blue here. Now, these charges really want to get close to each other, just like the magnets that you have experience with playing with. And that's what happens. The charges end up growing toward each other very, very quickly. And a lot of electricity is flowing with these charges as well. This whole process happens at over 60,000 miles per second. So when we see lightning strikes, they all happen usually within less than a second. So it is a very quick process that causes you to see the flicker, and of course then afterwards you're going to hear it as well, the thunder. Now, because this process happens so quickly, that's why it's important to stay indoors during a thunderstorm, because you don't know when that lightning can strike. So anytime you're hearing thunder roars, make sure that you're going indoors. There are a couple different types of lightning though. They don't always have to reach the ground. Sometimes we see cloud to ground lightning, but also you can see lightning bolts that actually end up staying within the clouds themselves. So a lot of different types of lightning within thunderstorms, but anytime you see it, you just want to stay indoors. Now, the second thing we'll talk about is hail, because you've probably seen some hail falling as well, and you might wonder, how in the world does that process happen? So in order to give you a better idea, we'll actually take a field trip inside the cloud. Once you go inside the cloud, you're going to have a little bit of water droplets that are in there. Now, the water droplets are going to end up freezing because it's very cold once you get up into the atmosphere. Take a look at these updrafts. That's the arrows at the bottom, which really is just the wind. So you have wind flowing into the cloud. This little ball or the water droplet will continue to flow up because of the wind. Now, because the freezing level is in here as well, that's the blue line, anytime the water goes above it, it's going to freeze. And as the ball or the water droplet continues to go up and down within this cloud above the freezing level, it continues to grow more and more ice onto it. So it's getting bigger and bigger. And all of this, yes, is ice. So it's going to become very heavy. Now, eventually, the water droplet or the ice is going to get so heavy that it ends up falling out at the bottom of the cloud. And that's when we see it land on Earth. And sometimes hail can even get as big as baseballs. So if you see any hail, you want to stay indoors as well. And now you know a little bit about lightning and hail.
Wind is wind. It doesn't matter if it's spinning or moving in the same direction. It can be damaging and dangerous. Straight line wind of more than 70 miles per hour can be just as damaging and dangerous as a tornado. When we have any kind of severe weather, there are different types of weather alerts that you need to know about. These alerts help you be prepared and take action in the case of severe weather. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield explains the difference between a watch and a warning.
One of the most common questions that meteorologists get is, what is the difference between a watch and a warning? It can be kind of confusing, but if we think about it differently, it becomes a little bit easier to remember. So we can use tacos. The National Weather Service in Albuquerque broke this down with a taco watch and a taco warning. On the left, we see our picture with all the ingredients there to make tacos. That's our taco watch. Maybe you have tomatoes, cheese, sour cream, maybe even jalapenos. But the tacos haven't been made just yet. The ingredients are there. Now, in a taco warning, we're having tacos right now, and the taco is completely made. And so we can think about this when it comes to severe weather. In this case, tornadoes. During a tornado watch, that means be prepared. Conditions are right and the ingredients are there for tornadoes to form in usually the next few hours or so. And that will sometimes lead to a tornado warning. That is when it is time to take action and get to your storm safe spot, your tornado safe spot, wherever that might be in your home or where you are. Now, that also means a tornado has either been spotted by someone on the ground or it's indicated by radar. So radar thinks that there's enough rotation there to potentially produce a tornado down the line. Now, there's also a type of tornado warning called a tornado emergency. And these are pretty rare, but it is the highest level of tornado warning that the National Weather Service can produce. It means that there is a severe threat to human life and catastrophic damage. Usually we see these when a tornado is moving through a very populated area that could lead to a lot of damage and, unfortunately, a loss of life. So now that we have this knowledge, we can tell the difference between a watch and a warning.